Hi guys, my name is Elijah Gomez. This is my informative speech demo. I am going to present this in front of my two sisters. You guys can go ahead and say hi.
Hi. Hello.
And I'm going to get started. So everyone always says that electric vehicles are always the best cars to use to keep the environment clean and healthy. But have you ever sat down and really learned about the pros and cons of electric vehicles? Just saying that electric vehicles are good for the environment does not actually mean that they are good. You also need to really understand the pros and the cons of these cars for our environment first. So today I'll be providing the information for not only the pros of electric vehicles, but also the negatives of electric vehicles. We will first be looking into the specifics of the environmental effects and of what these type of vehicles have. For now though, I will just focus on the pros of electric vehicles to the environment. The consensus is often that electric vehicles are good for the environment. The real question though is how they are good for the environment. Electric vehicles eliminate exhaust emissions like carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, and particulate matter, which significantly improve the local air quality. So around our neighborhoods and around our cities, we often have these fossil fuel using cars that are constantly putting out these emissions. But with the higher use of electric vehicles, these emissions can oftentimes be negated to various measures by just using these cars as our daily drivers. Our other main point is that with the advancement of technologies, electric car batteries are actually more reliable than ever. This means that these batteries can last years longer without needing replacements as often. Oftentimes cars have issues and troubles that break down that make them to need more and more maintenance, while the new batteries that are being produced and used oftentimes aren't needing to have maintenance for 10 to 12 years. The main issues that people worry about regular cars for the environment are the emissions, where EVs actually can reduce that significantly. Also, these gas-powered cars that use these big large engines that produce a lot more emissions can be significantly decreased with the use of electric cars and these brand new batteries. Now we can go see the cons of electric vehicles have on the environment. While everyone believes that electric vehicles do no harm to the environment, this is actually not the case. Instead, there are actually drawbacks due to the production of EVs on the environment. One of the most common drawbacks is that the intense mining that often happens to get the minerals to produce these batteries often cause harm to the environment. Alongside the dangers of mining, the chargers themselves can also be very damaging. More often than not, these chargers are powered by generators that also use fossil fuels. The higher demand for EVs also creates a higher demand for charging stations. With the high demand for more fossil fueled vehicles are sent out alongside the tools that are often used by generators, which are used by fossil fuels, are taken out to make these charging stations. So the more electric vehicles that people purchase, the more charging stations that are going to be needed. And the more charging stations that are going to be needed, the more cars and vehicles are going to need to be put out to make said charging stations. EVs are not the end-all answer to protecting our environment, and there are many cons to producing our own electric vehicles. However, we can see that there are solutions to these issues that we can follow to make sure that EVs are the best option. EVs still have their issues, but they are that can be put on the environment. However, there are still ways that we can make EVs a safer option. One way is that companies are attempting to make EVs better for the environment is by recycling the old batteries to better uses. One way that they're doing this is by grabbing the batteries that still can hold a charge, and instead of using them to power these EVs, they are actually now used to hold solar energy. Another way the consumer can make EVs a better option is to just choose the daily driver that's going to best fit you. Not all drivers are going to need the heavy powered truck EVs. Some drivers can use the normal Tesla, can use the longer range vehicles. Those are going to be better in the long run because it keeps the production of cars that aren't needed out while producing the cars that are needed. So the big point that I have here is just recycling and choosing the best option for you are the best ways you can improve to have EVs for the environment. EVs, while being a safe option to keep the environment safe, can still have issues. Nothing in this world is perfect. and there are still ways that EVs can improve. It is important to know why behind these things to keep you educated on the options and decisions that you may have in the future. EVs are a good car to choose for the environment, but before you go out and purchase one for yourself, you should take the time to see the pros and the cons. So if you ever do decide to purchase an EV, take the time to see the car, company, and product that you should purchase before deciding to pick with the best and most popular choice. Thank you.